let's talk about Chucky, because I think he's somebody in Australian powerlifting that I think was hugely influential to a lot of people across federations. Um, and he was working for the Storm at the time and had this really cool position. But I find not many people know who Daniel Deeper-Scrally was.
Yeah. He was, for me, he was someone that wasn't really interested in competing. I think that's why, or not as much as others. Um,
Mm,
and
yeah,
they
okay.
did, and they did. He did so many variations that some of them were funky, some of them were too funky. And even me, I'd say, mate, you're just putting that block there because you don't want to go down far enough.
Yeah.
And you want to lift more weight. But he
He did
was.
come up with six-way band squats.
That's right.
Yeah,
I couldn't keep up after a while. But
yeah.
but he was another one. Like he'd always be helpful. He was always consistent, even
Hmm.
if he did different stuff. And that's probably part of the reason why he's so good at different variations of exercises. Because he did West Side, he did so many different things in different ways
Yep.
that he, he was so adaptable. Um, but like we were blessed looking back. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you had Marty and you had Chuck and then you had Bro and then you had all these people that were probably at the similar age at the same time, all training.
Hmm.
Um, and like even Marty is a fireman, so he had a bunch of fireys that used to come in and lift heavy things.
Right.
Um, and it was just we used to have a AM crew and a PM crew, and you could just fit into either one. And it was just and with Chuck, I think because he wasn't interested in competing like he was, or as much, or just lifting it in the gym with unofficially with some of his mates meant as much to him as a competition. He was able to really enjoy it and really pass on all the different things that he had tried because he tried so many things, you know.
Yeah, he was
Um,
really for a couple of years there. He was really really important to my lifting. Like I used to run ideas past him. He would um every time I was in Melbourne, he would turn up at the comp and he would try and pick apart my training. And he would say,
yeah,
where are you going over the next 3 months? What's your plan? And I'd go, oh, I'm thinking of this and this and this. And he'd just hammer me like, why would you do that? Have you thought about these five other things? I'm like, no, don't know they exist. But he was
yeah.
just so. I think it was all about the training puzzle for him, wasn't it? He was like so
I
invested in.
was a bit lucky because he couldn't talk to me about squats and deadlifts, so it was just, so there was less questions. But yeah, he was always on. He was always on. But it was like a passing of the batting. Batting.
Mm,
A lot of people don't realize. Like I think before Marty was at Storm, sorry, before Chuck was at Storm, Marty was at Collingwood Footy Club, and then I think Marty was at Storm, and then Chuck was at Storm. So there's a lot of knowledge like that they would have got from different sports as well,
yeah.
you
Yep.
know, and to go with the fact that they were such avid trainers and they were so committed, there's just so many different thoughts that went on, and I think the sport's come a long way now in sharing ideas, but it was
Hmm.
very narrow minded when I started.
Yeah, I agree. Like I know I started a couple of years after you, but that's what we walked in. That's what I walked into. You had all the clubs around Australia, and
Yeah,
and it didn't it didn't seem like anybody really wanted to talk to each other about programming. That they were all hiding their programs, and nobody would talk about it. And the only people that wanted to talk about training were the SFW crew, which is why I think I gravitated to you all because I was by myself in the middle of nowhere in Karratha. There was no one to talk to about training. I had no training partners. I was
yeah,
insanely jealous of the fact that you had an AM and a PM crew, and it was like, oh man, that's like West Side. All these guys are training together, and here's me training by myself. And so I used to have a
yeah,
little bit of a sook from time to time. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know where I was going with that when it's, but yeah, just that whole culture of sharing. I think SFW really led the way in Australia for sharing information about training.
yeah. Well, Steve was a massive part of that.
Yeah, or that was
Um,
that was his big thing, wasn't it? Like, let's stop
yeah,
competing with one another. Let's compete
yeah,
as Australians against the rest of the world.
yeah. I think, and look, there's so many lifters that um have benefited from different techniques. I know from speaking to Ben that he's picked your brains on a few things,
Mm.
and I could guarantee you that some of the things you, without knowing what it is and not knowing to need to know what it is, would be different to how the para people do it.